Hi guys, welcome to this hip openers class. Of course, we're focusing all the movement in this class around the hips. So the hips are a mobile joint. So think snake hips. And we want them to be mobile because if they get too stiff or too tight for too long, then that mobility starts to shift above or below that joint into the other two joints, which should essentially be stable. So like your lower back and your knees. So in order to keep that mobility, stability, anatomical structure correct and healthy in your body, we need to make sure that these guys can move. So we're going to explore the range of motion in our hips, ease into some deeper positions, and have a bit of fun with it. So we're going to start lying down in happy baby. But with this happy baby, as you lie on your back, I want you to feel the ground beneath your head, the shoulders and the ribs, and also the very base of your spine, the sacrum. So there can actually be like a little gap underneath your lower back. And then bring the knees up towards your chest without lifting the hips off the floor. So lift those knees up, keep the lower back on the ground, and they'll only go up as far as that flexion in your hips will take them. Prioritize your back in this position. And then open the legs wide, and through the gap of the legs, you're welcome to lift the head up for this moment to grab hold of either your ankles, your heels, or maybe the feet, completely up to you. And then once you've got a really good grip around one of those three areas, lower the head and the shoulders back down. What I like to do in this position as well is press the forearms into the inner thighs so that we're encouraging the thighs to open. There's a nice stretch towards the groin, and we're working external rotation in your hips right now. And start to invite a little rock from side to side. Maybe you now want to rotate the ankles. So rotate one way and then the other, move the toes, point, flex the feet. And so much of this mobility and stability structure of our body starts from the big toe mound, the hallux joint. So we want there to be significant mobility within the ankle and within those toes. There are so many joints and bones in the soles of the feet. And if we are constantly shoving them into shoes and kind of stopping that mobility, then we can already be tampering with our natural movement, natural joint movement. And then start to lift the arms up towards the sky and keep the hips wide. And you can start to work an anterior tilt with your pelvis. So if you're anteriorly tilting your pelvis, see my toes are starting to go towards the floor. And I'm imagining if you're standing up that you're poking your bum out. And then posterior tilt is the other way. Tuck the tailbone under. And here's where you'll start to perhaps flatten the back. Hips rise off the floor a little bit. And actually you can work your abdominals here too. And then go back to that anterior tilt, poke the bum out. Maybe the toes come towards the floor. And tilt the tailbone under. Keep the arms up here. Just I want us to work on the mobility of the hips without any sort of influence from the arms. Then find a more neutral ground and extend the right leg out. Bend the right knee and extend the left leg out. And switch. Just switch the legs that open. And then eventually both the legs out nice and wide. Keep the arms where they are. And then I want you to circle. Bend the knees, hug the thighs in together. Extend the legs up towards the sky. Open out the hips, draw a big circle with the hips. And you can always change the direction that you circle as well. Play around with this a little bit. One more breath in, one more little round. And then hug your knees into your chest and start to rock up and down the length of your spine. Up to your sit bones, back over to the shoulders. A couple of times. Until you're ready to, at the top, squeeze the heels in towards your bum, rock forward, shoot the hands out in front of you, and step your feet back into all fours position. Now in this all fours position, spread the hands, fingers out wide and hands go underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. and start to gently rock forward and back, or maybe even draw some little circles with the hips. A nice little cat-cow or a jungle cat, that I like to call it, or I've been taught it as well. And you ripple the spine, tuck the tailbone under, tilt the tailbone back. And then a really wonderful way of sort of stretching out the inner thighs, which obviously connect right up into that ischial tuberosity, which is right by the sit bones, that ligament right by the sit bones, is you're going to send your left leg out to the side, flex the left foot, and then plant the little toe mound into the floor and start to rock forward and back again. Now I've got my back toes, my right toes tucked. Rock forward and back as much as you can, adding in a little bit more movement to the hips still. There's really no right or wrong with how these look, and everyone's going to look a little bit different with their hips. Depending on how long you've sat down for today, even, it might look a little bit different to how on a day that you maybe stand up a lot more or walk a lot more. One more time, breathe in, rock your bum back. Exhale, rock forward, switch it to the other side. Bring your left knee back underneath your left hip. Right leg out to the side, plant the right little toe into the floor, spread your fingers wide and rock back and forward. One more big breath in. Exhale, bring your right knee back underneath your right hip. And we're going to make our way into downward facing dog. So claw the fingers into the floor. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, shine the tailbone up towards the sky, drop the head through the arms and push the floor away. You're going to lift your right leg up towards the sky, point the right toes, bend the right knee and open up the hips here. Three-legged dancing dog. We're probably all quite familiar with this in a Vinyasa class. I want you to now circle this right knee and thigh all the way around. Again, you can change the directions. And as we are really only focusing here on the hips mainly today, we'll spend a little bit longer in each of these poses. And you, of course, can keep your standing knee bent or straighten it. We just want to still find that little tilt in the tailbone up towards the sky. Maybe the leg extends as you circle it round. This is completely up to you. Play around with it. Find your limit, find your edge, and then bring it back. One more big breath in, circle it round. And exhale, step the right foot through between your hands. Keep the back knee off the floor for a moment. Rise up onto your fingertips and rock forward. Bend the back knee and rock back. Straighten the front knee. Up on your fingertips. Rock it forward. Extend your back leg. Bend your front knee. And rock back. So we're kind of passing the bend in the knees. We either bend forward, straighten the back leg, or we go the opposite. Bend the back knee and straighten the front leg. Easing ourselves into this also with the spine. And then lower your left knee to the floor. And straight away from here, you can heel toe your right foot a little bit further over to the right edge of the mat and turn the right toes out slightly. So we work again into external rotation of the front thigh. You can also slide onto the outer edge of the right foot and start to shine the sole of the foot in towards the middle of the mat. From there, left hand's going to stay on the floor and you're going to circle the right arm all the way up and around, twist towards your right thigh. It is completely up to you if you have turned the right toes out and if you have slid onto the outer edge of the right foot. Sometimes language just leaves a yoga teacher, and that is okay. We're doing a lot. You're going to circle the right arm all the way up and around, twist towards the right thigh. So what we've got going on right now, and just keep working this twist forward and back, is we've got external rotation in the front leg, and then we've got extension in the back leg. One more breath in. You're going to hold it at the back, so you're going to twist, either hold exactly as you are, or anyone that does want to incorporate a little bit of a monkey twist into this, you can bend the left knee, perhaps catch the foot with the right hand. So this is very dependent on how tight the front of the thighs are, whether you can hold the foot or not. And if you have got the foot, I'd like you to hold the little toe edge of this foot so that we can encourage some external rotation in the right shoulder. One more breath in wherever you are. And then exhale, let go of the foot if you have it. Keep the right leg where it is. And you're either going to place both of your hands to the floor and stay here as you breathe in and breathe out. Or as you breathe out, walk the hands a little bit further forward and bend the elbows towards the floor. Inhale, lift the elbows up. Exhale, lower the elbows down. They don't have to touch the ground. Inhale up. Exhale down. It's completely up to you if you have the sole of the right foot on the floor or you still are over on the edge of the foot. Really up to you. Maybe you can play around with planting the big toe down and lifting it off the floor. And then you can either stay exactly where you are or lower the forearms down completely, more lizard style. And it is quite nice in lizard to rock the hips from side to side. You are also welcome to lift the back knee and lower, rock it forward and back. There is movement here. I don't want you to get to a point where you just cannot move anymore. So I don't want you to just go to the very, very edge and end of your flexibility and then you're stuck. Mobility is so important to incorporate into our flexibility. And I teach a class about the difference between mobility, stability, and flexibility, which is up on my channel too. So if you want to do that, check it out. One more breath in. Exhale, walk your hands back if you've gone all the way down and heel toe your right foot in towards the middle of the mat. From there, we are going to Skandasana, which is kind of like this side lunge, and turn to the back of the room. So turn in to face the middle of the room. And as you do this, flex the back foot and stay bent into the right side. And then very slowly shift it to the back of the mat. And once you get to the back of the mat, hands down, slide your left leg all the way up into three-legged dog. Point the left toes. Bend the left knee, open up the hips, and circle the left leg around. Both directions, nice and slowly. You're welcome to extend the leg long, circle it around. Claw the fingertips into the earth. Bend the supporting knee. Play around with it. And then bring your left knee in towards your chest. Step the left foot through between your hands. And lower the right knee to the floor. Before you fully lower the right knee down, lift it back up and rock forward and back. You can rock forward and back with the back knee on the ground if this extension of the back leg is a little bit too much. Stay up on your fingertips, bend the right knee and straighten the left knee. Bend the left knee and straighten the right knee. So remember, passing over the bend to the back, to the front. One more breath in. Exhale, bend the front knee and lower your right knee to the ground. Now, as soon as you're here, you're going to heel toe the left foot slightly over to the edge of the mat. Turn the left toes out. Welcome to slide onto the outer edge of the left foot. I naturally tend to take my right hand out a little bit wider as well here so that I really do have quite a big gap between the hand and the foot. Use the edges of your mat to kind of measure this. And then you're going to start to circle the left arm up and around, twist towards your left leg. And then circle it back. And again, inhale, circle it up and around, twist. Exhale. One more breath in where you are. Now you can stay in this twist just as it is, or we can add in a little monkey twist. Bend the right knee, catch the foot with the left hand. It is so common to get cramp when you go into a monkey twist. If you find you get cramp, let go of it. Let the muscle lengthen again, and then maybe attempt a second round. One more breath in where you are. Exhale, bring your left hand back where it is into the middle of the mat. And you're welcome to keep your left foot out as wide as it is now. If you need to adjust it, please do. Your hands can go a little bit further forward and you can stay upright on your hands as you breathe in and out. Or inhale up, exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze them a little bit closer towards the floor. And again, inhale up, exhale down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale down. You can keep going that way, or you can lower both the forearms straight to the floor, more lizard style. You can lift your back knee on or off the ground. You can rock this forward and back. I also encourage you dropping the head a little bit here as well. With the back knee off the floor, you can rock your hips from left to right. Take a couple more breaths where you are. Final big breath in. Big breath out. Walk your hands back up to center. Lift the back knee and heel toe your left foot a little bit closer in towards the middle of the mat. Then you're going to turn it in to face the middle of the room. Flex the right foot. And then really slowly start to take yourself into the middle of your mat with both of your legs out wide. Gently rock from left and to right. What I've got going on here is I'm actually flexing the straight-legged foot and bending the other knee, planting the toes down. Fingertips on the floor. And then heel toe your feet a little bit closer in towards one another. You want to start with your heels in and your toes out. Bend your knees and slowly rise up into goddess pose. Inhale, reach the arms over your head. Straighten the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, open the arms. And again, inhale, rise up, squeeze your bum. Exhale, down. Now keep the knees bent. You can place the left forearm onto your left thigh and the right hand on the right thigh, sort of lean into the left leg and switch sides. Again, you're kind of using the forearms to maneuver the hips a little bit more here. So it is important, even though we want to keep mobility like rife in the hips, we do want to keep strength in the glutes. So it's all fine and well being super flexible in the hips, but we want to make sure that there is a support and there's a stability there as well. Now, from here, bring your hands up onto your hips. Keep the legs bent here. Squeeze your bum, shoulders back. And I would like you to try and leave your left leg exactly as it is. And you're going to internally rotate your right leg in. So pivot up onto your right tiptoe, turn the right thigh in, bend both of the knees, and you're looking towards the back of the mat, and you're in a lunge with both of your knees bent. Inhale, bring the arms up over the head, keep the knees bent. And grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Start to tilt, maybe an inch maximum, your upper body to the left. Exhale. And again, squeeze the bum, tilt. Exhale. Oh, it's a big one for me. Last time, inhale, tilt. Exhale, open the arms, bring your hands onto your hips. Come back into that goddess pose. Turn the right heel down. Open up the thighs, switch to the other side. Turn the left leg in, bend both of the knees, turn to face the original front of the room. Bend the knees, squeeze your bum. And inhale, reach the arms up over the head. Grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lift. And tilt. Exhale. And again, inhale, tilt. Exhale. One more, breathe in. Exhale. This time you're going to bring both of your hands to the floor. Step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Wiggle the head through the arms. Spread your fingers wide. Keep the knees bent and tilt the tailbone up towards the sky. Breathe in. Breathe out. So really it's that anterior tilt, tilting the tailbone up towards the sky, that we want to find in downward facing dog. And you'll get that when you bend your knees. So if you come right up onto your tiptoes and straighten the legs, tuck the tailbone under, almost like you want to ripple forward into a high plank, squeeze your bum, that's a posterior tilt. Bend your knees, squeeze your heels a bit closer towards the floor, push the ground away and tilt the tailbone up towards the sky. That's an anterior tilt. We want a little bit more of that in your downward facing dog. And that's the way that we can also stretch the hamstrings well. Start to pedal out your heels one at a time and move the hips from left to right. Inhale, lift your right leg up towards the sky once again. And then you're going to bring your right shin forward towards the back of your wrists into pigeon. Now, when we come into pigeon, lower your shin down, keep the back toes tucked, and I want you to keep your back knee off the floor. Come up onto your fingertips. You're welcome to walk the hands forward or a little bit wider if you wish. And you're pressing down through the front shin and rocking this a little bit. So it's a little bit more active. You're engaging your glutes. Tuck the back toes, and then slowly you're welcome to start to lower the back thigh onto the floor, point the toes. Stay upright here or lower down onto your forearms. And in this pigeon, see if you can sort of shift this a little bit left to right in your hips. Just to make sure the hips are still working. It's one of these poses that I find that you can very easily cheat, and that really you just make a shape and you're just kind of hanging out. So feel it. Find the sensation when you can start to feel the right thigh and glutes stretch out a little bit more. Find the sensation maybe so you can get that left leg to feel longer and longer and longer, rather than just collapsing and chilling. One more breath in. Walk your hands back up, tuck the left toes, lift the knee off the floor again, and send it back into downward facing dog. Notice how your front leg is feeling, and then straight away lift the left leg up towards the sky. Send the left shin forward towards the back of the wrists. Lower the shin down, tuck the back toes, and rock it again forward and back. And maybe you can start to feel the hips sort of tilt a little bit, left to right. Notice if there's a difference between the two as well, because of course, we're not symmetrical. And one thigh bone can rest in the hip socket completely differently to the other. And it will have an effect. When you're ready, you can lower the back knee and thigh and foot fully onto the floor. You can lower down to your forearms, continue that little bit of movement here, and maybe you find a real sweet spot. And take one more breath in where you are. Exhale, walk your hands back up, tuck the right toes, lift the back knee off the floor, engage the glutes, and press back into downward facing dog. From here, I want us to walk our feet a little bit closer up towards the hands. And then take your feet out as wide as the mat, heels in, toes out. Crawl the fingers a little bit further forward and come up onto the fingertips, bend the knees. Now you're going to cement the fingertips into the floor and bend both of your knees, thighs open, and direct your sit bones towards the floor. Drop your head, and then inhale, lift your hips back up towards the sky. Keep your fingertips on the ground. And again, exhale, bend the knees. I love this one.
Inhale, lift the hips, press the fingertips into the floor. This is an excellent one, working on forward folds and keeping it all really integrated into our spine. Exhale, bend the knees. This time, stay down here, and we go Malasana yogi squat. So you can absolutely keep this a little bit more passive if you want to. Forearms or hands to the floor, and maybe there's this little rock from side to side, or go a little bit more diagonally on. If you prefer to take your yogi squat and you can keep the heels on the floor and be more upright, then by all means, you can stay still. Or if, kind of like me, the heels sometimes struggle to reach the ground, you can lift the heels off the floor and tilt from left to right, working those inner thighs as well. This is a big one for the hips. Breathe in. Breathe out. And of course, if you're used to sitting in this position since infancy, then this feels easier and more accessible to you. If this is something that, especially in the Western world, we don't sit like this all the time. We sit in chairs and it stiffens the hips up, shortens the ligaments, and kind of screws us up a little bit. So it will get a little bit easier and more tolerable over time. But it takes time, it's a process. Now, as we're in this Malasana, this yogi squat, we're quite close to the floor. You're going to reach the hands forward, round the spine, and start to get your sit bones back onto the floor. And roll your whole body back to where we began this flow, into happy baby. Legs wide. Think head, shoulders, and sacrum attached to the floor. Grab your ankles or your feet, shoulders back. Press your forearms to your inner thighs and gently rock from side to side. Notice how you're feeling. Rotate the ankles again, move the toes. And then, of course, you can reach the arms up and repeat that extension of one leg. Switch it over. And then you can start to circle the legs round, both directions. How do your hips feel now? I had a teacher that once used to call it human rust, when we would circle the legs in a dance class and you'd feel it a bit creaky. The human rust. We're working this connective tissue as well, which may have not moved in a long time. And when the connective tissue doesn't move for a really long time, it stiffens. So we're working on a pretty deep level in this session. So well done. We're going to finish it here. Final little happy baby. Big breath in. Big breath out. Start to bring the soles of your feet together, knees open, and you can rest your hands on your body or let it all hang out, arms out wide to the side. Close the eyes, give yourself a few moments here to soak in all of that movement. There's a lot going on in the hips, right? Connects the upper and the lower body, center of gravity in the sacrum. There's a huge range of motion and there's a lot of weight that we bear here. Take a final breath in. And exhale, start to squeeze your legs back together, hug your knees into your chest. Rock up and down the length of the spine a couple of times until you're ready to come up to a seat. It can be cross-legged, it can be kneeling, it can be whatever seat you like. Finish here. You might want to even place your hands sort of around the hips, belly, thighs, or somewhere else to finish off this session. Close the eyes and just take a moment to acknowledge how you're feeling. Practicing awareness. Take a little bow to yourself. Thank you for flowing with me. Namaste. Thank you. Well done, everyone. Hope you're feeling nice and open or getting there.
Just a little bit of mobility can go a really, really long way. And just notice that there are other parts of your body that are now feeling really good because of it. If you like my stuff, please do continue to watch what's on my channel. And as always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for your support. Have a wonderful rest of your day.